Top 20 NES games. So hard, they'll break your controller and your soul. During the mid-1980s, we saw a wave of games that triggered the ego of every pro gamer. They required extreme focus and had no or limited options to save progress. These games were called the Nintendo Hard, a nightmare, as well as a dream come true for every gaming enthusiast who loves an open invitation to test their mettle. That's why in today's video, we will be counting down the top 20 NES games that were so difficult they could possibly break your controller, but would definitely break your soul. But before we get started, like this video and subscribe to our channel for more retro deep dives. Now, let's get started. Silver Surfer, 1990. Silver Surfer, 1990, is one wild ride through the cosmos that challenged even the most seasoned NES veterans. Born from the desire to bring Marvel's iconic interstellar hero into the gaming world, this title pushed the limits of what home consoles could do back then. You take control of the cosmic wanderer as he surfs through a neon-tinted universe, battling bizarre, otherworldly foes in a fight that feels as endless as space itself. The gameplay is a furious combination of side-scrolling action and shoot-'em-up challenges, with each level throwing a new set of riddles and fierce adversaries at you. The controls? Let's just say they were as slippery as cosmic stardust, making each victory feel like a miracle. And the graphics, while they may look retro now, packed a punch with a psychedelic, spacey aesthetic that perfectly captured the feel of a Marvel comic come to life. The vibrant colors and imaginative designs were ahead of their time, drawing players into a universe that was as challenging as it was mesmerizing. What truly earns Silver Surfer its spot on our list is its notorious difficulty. It wasn't just about reflexes, it was a test of persistence and determination that could break your controller, and maybe even your soul. If you're up for a cosmic adventure that pushes you to the edge, this game is one for the history books. Battletoads, 1991. Battletoads, 1991, is the ultimate test of NES skills. A game that's as wild as it is unforgiving. Developed by Rare during the height of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles craze, it reimagined our amphibious heroes into intergalactic warriors. The story kicks off with Professor T. Bird and our fearless toads, Rash, Zitz, and Pimple, embarking on a rescue mission when Princess Angelica and Pimple get snatched up by the notorious Dark Queen. It's a plot that's delightfully absurd and packed with tongue-in-cheek humor. What really sets Battletoads apart is its mind-bending variety. One moment you're brawling through beat-em-up stages, and the next, you're hurtling through the infamous turbo tunnel on a speed bike, dodging walls and obstacles at breakneck speed. Each level introduces a fresh, almost unrecognizable gameplay twist, keeping you on your toes and forcing you to memorize every pixel-perfect pattern to survive. Graphically, the game pushed the NES to its limits, with vibrant, cartoonish visuals that still pop today. From its fluid sprite animations to its cleverly designed levels, Battletoads makes every hurdle look as fun as it is brutal. This game earned its spot on our list because its punishing difficulty isn't just about frustration, it's about pushing you to the edge, turning every victory into an epic achievement. Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, 1986. Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, 1986, is the twisted, ultra-challenging sequel that takes the classic Mario formula and cranks the difficulty to 11. Originally released in Japan on the Famicom Disk System as Super Mario Bros. 2, it was so relentlessly punishing that Nintendo kept it under wraps for Western audiences for years. The story is pretty straightforward. Mario and Luigi set off on another rescue mission, but this time, every level is a gauntlet of hazards and traps. Instead of friendly power-ups, you'll encounter poison mushrooms that hurt instead of heal, and hidden pitfalls that punish even the slightest slip-up. The gameplay is the same beloved side-scrolling platformer at its core, but with level designs that force you to memorize every jump and enemy pattern. One wrong move and you'll be sent back to square one, testing your nerves and your controller's durability. Graphically, it stays true to its predecessor with vibrant, iconic sprites and catchy tunes. But those cheerful visuals mask the underlying torment of each unforgiving stage. Its precision-demanding controls and punishing enemies enemy placements make every victory feel like a hard-earned triumph. Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels deserves its spot on our list because it doesn't just challenge your reflexes, it challenges your very will to play, leaving a trail of broken controllers and souls in its wake. Ghosts and Goblins, 1985. I still remember my first brutal run through Ghosts and Goblins. It was like stepping into a nightmare that I couldn't look away from. I took on the role of Arthur, a lone knight armed with nothing but a trusty sword and a whole lot of grit, on a desperate mission to save a princess from a never-ending army of demons and zombies. Every level sucked me into its grim world, where creepy castles, haunted forests, and fiery pits were brought to life with modest but striking 8-bit graphics. I'd sit there, heart-pounding, as the eerie soundtrack and bone-chilling sound effects made each jump and swing feel like a fight for survival. What really got me, though, was the gameplay. It's unforgiving in the best way possible. I'd mess up one tiny step, and boom, I'd be sent back to square one. Every stage forced me to memorize enemy patterns and execute near-perfect moves. The constant assault meant that each hard-won victory felt epic, even if my controller wasn't always as tough as I was. Ghosts and Goblins isn't just a game. It's a true test of persistence that transformed me into a more determined gamer, one agonizing but exhilarating run at a time. Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, 1987. Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link is notorious for its soul-crushing difficulty, a merciless contest designed to punish every misstep and shatter even the steeliest resolve. The game's punishing nature stems from a unique blend of action platforming and early RPG mechanics that seem determined to turn progress into a cycle of perpetual setbacks. Every dungeon is a meticulously crafted death trap, from deceptive pitfalls and poison mushrooms that rob rather than restore, to elaborate environments like Death Mountain and the Great Palace, where even the smallest error forces an agonizing restart. One of its most maddening features is the save mechanic, which ruthlessly levels all of Link's stats to the lowest value upon saving, leaving players vulnerable in the midst of escalating challenges. The game's creators went out of their way to create locations that require near-perfect recall of adversary patterns and terrain hazards, a design philosophy that makes each encounter into a trial by fire. Every hidden trap, every unexpected ambush, and every punishing enemy encounter is a deliberate effort to break the player's spirit. Zelda 2 doesn't just test skill, it tests patience and perseverance to the point of despair. It is a relic of an era when sequels were experimental and developers dared to push boundaries, even if it meant crafting an experience that could literally break your soul. The Immortal, 1989. The Immortal, 1989, is a viciously punishing NES title that quickly earned its reputation as one of the most soul-crushing challenges on the console. The game's merciless structure leaves no room for error. Sparse checkpoints, a limited number of lives, and endless enemy assaults create an environment where every encounter can result in death. Players are thrust into a dark, hostile world filled with hidden traps and sudden ambushes that lurk around every corner. Intricate level designs force gamers to commit enemy patterns and treacherous terrain layouts to memory, with one misstep sending them back to the beginning of a lengthy stage. The health system offers minimal protection. Scarce power-ups and few healing opportunities mean that even minor damage can quickly turn fatal. Enemy behavior is merciless and unyielding, demanding precise timing and flawless execution in every battle. Every element, from the bleak graphics that reinforce a sense of dread to the haunting soundtrack that amplifies the tension, works in concert to create an atmosphere of constant peril. The cumulative effect is an experience that tests players' patience, skill, and perseverance with each arduous level. The design is so exacting that it transforms every victory into an epic triumph hard won by overcoming repeated failures and unending obstacles. Its steadfast difficulty, punishing mechanics, and uncompromising design combine to forge an unforgettable trial, demanding perseverance and determination from every gamer. Fester's Quest, 1989. Fester's Quest is an absolute beast, a game that punches you in the gut and leaves you screaming for mercy while you secretly love every maddening minute of it. Based on the Addams Family, Yeah, Uncle Fester himself. This title throws you into a bizarre alien invasion where Fester is the only one crazy enough to step up and save the day. And let me tell you, it's as punishing as it is quirky. From the get-go, Fester moves at a glacial pace, making every encounter a test of your reflexes and nerves. With only 2 health bars, unless you stumble on one of those elusive upgrades, one misstep means you're forced to restart the entire game. The overhead exploration feels like an uphill battle of unyielding, respawning enemies that seem hell-bent on keeping you down. Every enemy you face can drop a power-up, but don't get too excited because they also drop power-downs that can ruin your carefully built arsenal in a split second. And without a save or checkpoint system, every death sends you back to square one, forcing you to grind through every level over and over. The game mixes top-down shooting with occasional pseudo-3D maze segments that are both innovative and utterly frustrating. The graphics may dazzle in the intro, but in-game, they quickly devolve into a repetitive, headache-inducing mess. And that soundtrack? Sure, the title screen rocks a snazzy Addams Family theme, but in-game, it mostly just underscores the pain of defeat. For those who love a challenge that tests your mettle and rewards sheer perseverance, Fester's Quest is an unforgettable, soul-crushing ride, a true relic of the 8-bit era that demands respect from every gaming buff. Ninja Gaiden, 1988. Ninja Gaiden, 1988, is an 8-bit tour de force that pushes your skills to the absolute limit and will have your controller begging for mercy. Developed by Tecmo, this iconic title throws you into a gritty, cinematic ninja saga starring Ryu Hayabusa, a warrior with lightning-fast reflexes and an unyielding determination to exact revenge. From the very first cutscene, which broke new ground with its movie-like flair on a console that could barely dream of it, you know you're in for an epic, uncompromising adventure. The gameplay is a roller coaster of precision platforming and ferocious combat. Every level is designed with razor-sharp enemy patterns and perilous obstacles that demand perfection. One wrong move, one mistimed jump or missed slash, and you're hurled back to the beginning of the level, forcing you to learn and relearn the ins and outs of each stage. With only a handful of continues and few safe checkpoints, the game relentlessly tests your resolve, turning every victory into an exhilarating triumph. Graphically, Ninja Gaiden shattered expectations on the NES. Fluid animations, detailed sprites, and atmospheric backdrops combine to create an immersive world where every fight feels intense and every boss battle is a cinematic showdown. The pulse-pounding soundtrack only adds to the adrenaline, setting the perfect mood for this brutal quest. Ninja Gaiden isn't just a game. It's a brutal dare that demands skill, strategy, and sheer perseverance. Castlevania III: Dracula's Curse, 1989. Castlevania III: Dracula's Curse isn't merely a relic of the 8-bit era. It's a masterclass in unyielding, atmospheric dread that redefined what an NES action-adventure could be. Konami shattered expectations with this title by transforming the vampire hunting narrative into an expansive, branching odyssey. The game plunges players into a grim, foreboding version of 15th century Europe, where every shadow conceals lurking terrors and every corridor is fraught with peril. Assuming the role of the indomitable Trevor Belmont, players must navigate intricate levels that seamlessly blend traditional platforming with innovative non-linear paths. Unlike its more straightforward predecessors, Castlevania III invites you to choose your allies, such as the formidable sorceress Sypha and the nimble archer Grant, each offering unique abilities that add strategic depth to every encounter. The result is a gameplay experience where the stakes are always high, and even a momentary lapse can lead to devastating defeat. Every meticulously crafted sprite and eerie backdrop contributes to an immersive gothic atmosphere that is as visually captivating as it is brutally unforgiving. The game's notoriously punishing one-hit kill system means that precision is paramount. One mistimed jump or missed whip strike will force you to start over, making each small victory feel immensely hard-earned. Complemented by a haunting, memorable soundtrack, Castlevania III stands as a true testament to the ingenuity and sheer audacity of 8-bit game design, a timeless challenge that continues to captivate and break controllers, yet ultimately rewards those who dare to master its depths. Bionic Commando, 1988. Bionic Commando, 1988, is a kinetic, adrenaline-fueled platformer that defies convention and rewards razor-sharp precision. Developed by Capcom, this NES classic shuns the standard jump button in favor of an innovative bionic arm mechanic. Instead of leaping into action the old-fashioned way, you must expertly swing, climb, and dash across precarious chasms using the momentum of your cybernetic limb. Every level morphs into a high-stakes obstacle course where even a fraction of a second's hesitation can catapult you into a deadly trap. Set against a dystopian backdrop steeped in military grit and futuristic menace, Bionic Commando casts you as an elite soldier on a perilous mission. The meticulously rendered environments, ranging from urban war zones to industrial wastelands, immerse you in a world where danger lurks behind every corner. Ninja Gaiden III, The Ancient Ship of Doom, 1991. Ninja Gaiden III, The Ancient Ship of Doom is a blood-pumping 8-bit brawler that ramps up the intensity to levels even a hardcore fighting game fanatic would appreciate. Released in 1991 by Tecmo, this installment is like a finely tuned fighting game engine wrapped in an epic ninja saga. Stepping into the shoes of Ryu Hayabusa, you're not just executing acrobatic moves, you're entering an arena where every move counts, and every misstep is brutally punished. Set aboard a mysterious ancient ship teeming with dark energy, the game throws you into a maelstrom of precision platforming and high-octane combat. Every stage is an arena where enemy patterns and hidden traps that test your reflexes like a championship bout. The control system is razor-sharp, reminiscent of the fluid mechanics found in top-tier fighting titles. One mistimed jump or slash is enough to send you spiraling back to the start of the level. No quarter given, no second chances. The cinematic cutscenes add a layer of storytelling that intensifies the overall experience, making each level feel like the next round in a high-stakes tournament. And let's not forget the satisfying visuals. Every sprite and backdrop is crafted with gritty detail that pulls you deep into this haunted, hostile environment. The thundering soundtrack is the perfect call to arms, fueling your adrenaline as you slice your way through an aggressive wave of adversaries. In short, Ninja Gaiden 3 is a masterclass in ruthless action, a title that demands the precision and heart of a true fighting game lover, rewarding you with that epic rush only a hardcore challenge can deliver. Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones, 1991. Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones takes the Lee brothers on a globe-trotting beat-em-up adventure that's both merciless and ambitious. This title takes the familiar Double Dragon formula and smacks you with a supernatural twist. You're not just fighting street thugs anymore, you're on a mission to recover these mysterious sacred stones that are supposed to save the world. Yeah, it sounds epic in theory, but the execution is a mixed bag. This game doesn't hold your hand, it smacks it away and laughs. You start with a single life, no continues, no mercy. Until you recruit allies like Chin and Ranzu in later levels, you're on your own. Enemies swarm you relentlessly, and their attack patterns are unpredictable, making each encounter a tense test of your reflexes and patience. Visually, the game sports gritty, over-the-top graphics that capture a neon-drenched underworld vibe, though they lack the polish you'd expect from a top-tier title. The soundtrack is hard-hitting and energetic, driving you forward even when the pacing feels uneven. Despite its ambition, Double Dragon 3 often stumbles. Its attempt to fuse martial arts mayhem with mystical elements comes off as awkward and sometimes downright confusing. Yet, there's something compelling about its raw, unapologetic design. It's imperfect, messy, and unrefined, but that's what gives it character. For a fan of brutal, no-frills beat-em-ups, this game is an audacious, if flawed, testament to the experimental spirit of early 90s gaming. Gradius, 1986. Gradius, 1986, is one of those shoot-em-up legends that slaps you in the face with pure, unfiltered arcade chaos. Developed by Konami, this game doesn't mess around. It's a furious barrage of enemy fire, rapid power-ups, and split-second dodges that will test even your quickest reflexes. You're in the cockpit of the Vic Viper, hurtling through levels that scroll at a breakneck pace, where every pixel of enemy art is designed to overwhelm you. The genius of Gradius lies in its innovative power-up system. Instead of just picking up a bunch of upgrades, you're given a power meter that forces you to choose wisely. Upgrade your lasers, add missiles, or grab a shield. It's a brutal balancing act that forces you to think on your feet while the screen explodes with enemy fire. The visuals might be raw by today's standards, but they still deliver an adrenaline kick with vibrant scrolling backdrops that create a sense of motion and impending doom. Meanwhile, the soundtrack pounds out an energetic beat that drives you to push through the chaos. Gradius isn't just a game, it's a no-holds-barred test of your gaming mettle. It's raw, it's brutal, and it doesn't care if you're having a bad day. If you're ready to dive into a game that demands every ounce of your skill without an ounce of mercy, then Gradius is the ultimate challenge you won't soon forget. Ikari Warriors, 1987. The NES version of Ikari Warriors is notorious for its brutal, no-mercy challenge, a far cry from the more forgiving nature of its arcade predecessor. One of the main culprits behind its steep difficulty is the inherent limitation of the NES controller. Unlike the responsive joystick of the arcade, the standard NES pad can feel sluggish, making precise movements and rapid directional changes incredibly taxing during frantic firefights. Moreover, the port ramped up enemy aggression to compensate for the arcade's more relaxed coin-operated environment. On the NES, waves of foes spawn in unrelenting, overwhelming numbers, leaving little time for players to catch their breath. The hardware constraints also meant that visual clarity and frame rates took a hit, so keeping track of fast-moving enemy units became a high-stakes guessing game. The level design plays its part too. Many sections force you into narrow, claustrophobic corridors with minimal room to maneuver. In these tight spaces, one miscalculated move or mistimed shot can send you spiraling into a game over, with the frustrating reality of starting all over again. Limited continues only add to the challenge, making every death feel like a heavy blow to your progress. In short, the NES version of Ikari Warriors is hard because it combines clunky controls, amped-up enemy spawn rates, and unforgiving level design into a perfect storm of fast-paced action. Mastering it demands not just quick reflexes, but an almost obsessive attention to every enemy pattern and movement, making it a true test of your gaming mettle. Gauntlet, 1988. Gauntlet, 1988 is a raw, pulse-pounding dungeon crawler that still packs a serious punch. This game isn't just about mashing buttons, it's about diving headfirst into a chaotic maze filled with never-ending monsters, treacherous traps, and scarce resources. You get to choose one of 4 distinct characters: the brawny warrior, the nimble elf, the mystical wizard, or the stalwart Valkyrie, and each brings its own flavor to the onslaught that awaits. From the very start, Gauntlet's top-down view sucks you into an atmosphere of constant tension. The corridors are dark, claustrophobic, and packed with enemies that pop out of every corner. One wrong move can quickly deplete your limited health and send you back to the beginning of the level, forcing you to grind your way through again. It's a brutal test of memory and precision. You must learn every twist and turn of its labyrinthine levels to survive. Unlike more forgiving titles, Gauntlet, 1988, doesn't coddle you with ample checkpoints or endless continues. Instead, it offers a no-holds-barred challenge where the stakes are high and the enemy waves are merciless. Every power-up is a double-edged sword, as you have to constantly balance the need for increased firepower against the risk of picking up a detrimental downgrade. While the graphics may seem rudimentary by modern standards, they perfectly capture the eerie, oppressive vibe of a besieged dungeon. The pounding, adrenaline-fueled soundtrack only ups the ante, making every moment an unapologetic test of your gaming mettle. The Adventures of Bayou, Billy, 1988. The Adventures of Bayou Billy, 1988, is a veritable adrenaline rush, a game that fuses raw action with a distinctive southern flair. Developed by Data East, this title stands out for its ambitious blend of run-and-gun mechanics with beat-em-up intensity, set against the atmospheric backdrop of a murky bayou. From the outset, players are thrust into a gritty underworld where every level is a test of skill and endurance. The game's design is unapologetically bold. You guide a tough-as-nails hero through a labyrinth of swamplands, industrial back alleys, and urban decay, all rendered in a style that marries cartoonish exaggeration with a touch of raw realism. The visual presentation may seem rough by today's standards, yet its bold sprites and vibrant backdrops capture the essence of the Bayou with infectious energy. What truly elevates Bayou Billy is its uncompromising difficulty. With sparse checkpoints and a ruthless health system, even a single misstep can force a complete restart of a level. Enemy encounters are relentless and demand not only rapid reflexes, but also a strategic approach to navigating the chaos. This is a game where every victory is hard-won, and the satisfaction of overcoming its brutal challenges is immense. Complementing the gameplay is a soundtrack that blends rock-inflected rhythms with regional twangs, creating an immersive auditory experience that propels you through the action. In essence, The Adventures of Bayou Billy is a challenging, unforgettable ride, a true testament to the daring spirit of late 80s arcade action on the NES. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1989. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1989, is a vicious test of reflexes and strategy that reflects its arcade DNA in every frame. Originally conceived to cash in on the wildly popular animated series, this title thrusts you into a chaotic urban battleground where the four turtles, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael, battle a never-ending stream of adversaries to save New York City from a nefarious plot. The game's conception is rooted in the coin-op era. It was designed to keep players on their toes, rapidly dishing out punishment as a way to maximize challenge and, ultimately, revenue. The video reveals a gameplay experience where every encounter feels like a high-stakes street fight. Waves of adversaries swarm the screen in unpredictable formations, and there's no luxury of pausing or taking a breath. Instead, you're forced to execute rapid combos, dodge attacks, and counter with precise strikes, all while managing multiple enemies at once. What sets this title apart is its brutal pacing. It demands almost instantaneous decision-making. Even a split-second hesitation can lead to a cascade of hits that quickly drain your limited health. The difficulty ramps up steadily, ensuring that the later stages feel like a crescendo of chaos. Despite being a faithful adaptation of the animated series' spirit, the gameplay mechanics are uncompromising, a design choice inherited from its arcade roots that translates into an experience where mastery is hard-won. In essence, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1989, is not just about iconic characters. It's an adventure that pushes gamers to their absolute limits, earning its rightful place among the most challenging titles in our collection. Punch-Out! 1987. Punch-Out! 1987 is an electrifying boxing simulator that thrusts you into the shoes of Little Mac, a plucky underdog with a heart full of fire and fists to match. Developed by Nintendo, this title was conceived to capture the raw intensity of the boxing ring, where every second counts and every move is a matter of life and defeat. The game's difficulty lies in its exquisite demand for precision. Each opponent, from the bumbling Glass Joe to the formidable Bald Bull, boasts a unique rhythm and set of telltale cues. Success hinges on your ability to memorize and perfectly time your dodges, blocks, and counterpunches. There's no room for hesitation. An off-timed jab or mistimed dodge results in a brutal knockdown that resets the match. The controls are deceptively simple, but require razor-sharp reflexes, making even the most basic exchanges feel like a high-stakes duel. Aside from its punishing gameplay, Punch-Out delivers an atmosphere steeped in charm and tension. The vibrant, cartoonish graphics bring its colorful cast to life, while fluid animations and a pulsating soundtrack amplify the adrenaline of each bout. Every fight is a meticulously crafted trial, pushing you to master the nuances of timing and strategy. In essence, Punch-Out! 1987 isn't just a boxing game, it's a ruthless test of skill that has defined a genre. Its uncompromising design and nail-biting challenges ensure it remains a crown jewel of the NES library, forever earning its place among the most demanding titles in gaming history. Paperboy! 1988. Paperboy! 1988 is a quirky suburban roller coaster that turns everyday newspaper delivery into a high-octane test of reflexes and precision. In this offbeat title, you assume the role of a scrappy paperboy riding your trusty bike through winding neighborhood streets, where every turn is a potential minefield of hazards. Designed with an almost surreal mix of humor and challenge, the game transforms mundane daily life into a battleground where cars, dogs, and unruly pedestrians stand between you and that perfect delivery. What makes Paperboy so maddeningly difficult isn't just the ever-present obstacles, it's the game's unforgiving physics and split-second timing that force you to calculate every move. The controls demand a delicate balance. You must steer around hazards, accelerate to dodge oncoming traffic, and launch newspapers with impeccable timing, all while keeping an eye on a steadily increasing score. Even a minor lapse in concentration can send you crashing off your bike, leaving you frustrated as you start over from the beginning of the route. The game's difficulty curve ramps up pretty fast, ensuring that every level presents new challenges and unpredictable obstacles that keep you on constant edge. Its unique blend of arcade-style action and unconventional gameplay mechanics has cemented Paperboy's status as a true test of gaming mettle. Despite its cartoonish graphics and playful premise, this title delivers a relentless barrage of challenges that few games dare to match. Paperboy isn't just a nostalgic trip down suburban streets, it's an enduring classic that continues to break your concentration and, sometimes, even your controller, earning its rightful place among the most demanding titles in gaming history. Final Fantasy 1987. Final Fantasy 1987 is a cornerstone of the JRPG genre that challenged players with a relentless learning curve and punishing resource management. Developed by Square for the NES, this game thrusts you into a world where every decision carries weight, often with little explanation or guidance. The narrative, steeped in epic quests to avert impending doom, is matched by gameplay that demands acute strategic foresight. One of the key factors behind its difficulty is the merciless nature of its turn-based combat. Battles require you to meticulously manage your limited health, magic points, and consumable items. A miscalculation or a single lapse in judgment during a protracted boss fight can leave your party disastrously underpowered. The leveling system is deliberately slow, forcing you to grind through random encounters and carefully balance your party's abilities if you hope to stand a chance against formidable adversaries. Moreover, the interface and menu systems, primitive by today's standards, add an extra layer of complexity. Navigating through them to equip the right weapons or cast the optimal spell can be as challenging as the battles themselves. The absence of generous save features means that every setback can result in a lengthy replay, testing both your patience and perseverance. Ultimately, Final Fantasy 1987 isn't difficult merely because of its mechanics, but because it demands a deep engagement with its systems. It forces you to learn from every encounter and master the nuances of strategy and timing. For those who relish a challenge and appreciate the roots of modern RPGs, this title remains a formidable, unforgettable experience. Marvelous verdict. These brutal, unforgiving NES classics weren't mere obstacles. They were pivotal milestones that molded our gaming DNA. Titles like Ninja Gaiden, Castlevania III, Final Fantasy, and even Paperboy pushed us to our limits, transforming frustration into fierce determination. At the time, their punishing difficulty felt like a glitch, but in hindsight, it was a masterful feature that prepared us for future gaming challenges. The relentless grind, the hard-won victories, and those sleepless nights spent mastering every level are etched in our memories. So, which of these hard NES games frustrated you the most? Let us know in the comments section. Also, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe for more trips via memory lane.